Okay, today we are going to play with this brand new Sizzix 3D adhesive. And if you haven't seen that, it's a pretty cool paste. And it is very similar to this, which is Stamperia's foil glue, foil paste, colla per doratura. I'm not even going to try to say that again. But they are very similar. So we're going to play with both of them. We've had this one for a while, but we've never played with it on a live to actually see how it works. And I never even took time to play with it on my own. It's just been sitting on my shelf. And then this one is brand new. We just got it. I've got one. Candy's got one on her desk, so we're going to play with that. I will confess that I opened it up last night and I did some quick little research on it because of what I knew about it. And I should have already had some of these prepped and I didn't. So, okay. So let's do this. What is it? What is this Sizzix 3D adhesive? It is adhesive to use with foil, either with foil sheets. Got some foil sheets. Let's see if this one of these is open. This one is open. Got some foil sheets here. I've got some other color foil sheets here. Or also to use with foil flakes. Hopefully Candy has her foil flakes handy because mine got packed in a box because I'm reorganizing the studio and that drawer got packed up and I can't get to them. I did have foil. Flakes are somewhere else. So flakes are fun to use though. I know you look at them and you go, what in the world am I supposed to do with these? And first tip, turn off the fan in your room when you're using them because they like to fly everywhere. They're super, super lightweight.
She leaves the messy one for me, ladies.
Yeah, of course. It is pretty simple to use though. And while Candy's doing it, I will give you some tips on it. I'm going to pull out this though. This is a really pretty rose colored pink and a mint green. And then in here, we've got some other, why do they close the foil with stickers? Good grief, people. Yeah. I have no idea. You know you're going to ruin the foil trying to get it off. It goes all the way. Oh, wow. Okay, now shouldn't ruin the foil unless you have to get under it and you'd end up destroying the foil that way. It's a piece of plastic around it and the sticker is only on the plastic, so it shouldn't ruin the foil. But I know that you might have a hard time sometimes with this today because foil is going to reflect off. Oh, this one's holographic. So yeah, foil is going to reflect off the camera. So if it gives your eyes a little bit of a, take a break, look away for a minute and come back. I will try not to keep the foil in front of your eye like that for any length of time. Put that holographic over there. So what is it first? Let's see. Let me open this up. This paste is made to use with foil to put foil down. I do like that it has this little plastic top to keep it all inside and to protect it. I was making something the other night. I was working on that little chipboard book that I showed you guys, and I was putting down a piece of rice paper, and I grabbed my rice paper. I wanted to grab my Stamperia rice paper glue to use it up so that I could then go to the tub because I really like the tub. And I grabbed it and I covered it and, did all of that. And then I realized that it wasn't rice paper glue. It was foil glue. So it still stuck the rice paper down. However, I will tell you that it really, really works because what you're supposed to do is put the glue down and then you let it dry and it dries tacky. and I hadn't used it. I didn't realize it then. So I thought, okay, I'll just set this aside and let it dry. I let it dry. Hours later, the next day, it was still tacky. Every time I touched it with my fingers, it was tacky. And so I kept having to try to wipe it off my fingers. If you get it on your fingers, it is tacky and everything will stick to you. So I keep a baby wipe handy because that will help a lot. But let's just start with something basic. And let's do a tag. We're going to do a couple of different ways. So I'm going to take a tag here. I'm going to take a stencil and I'm going to put down some of the 3D adhesive, and I need a spatula. Of course, one that doesn't have a bunch of adhesive all over it already would be good. Do I have? I could use that one. Okay. I had a plastic one here that I used last night, and it's still got stuff. I could probably peel it off, but it's still got stuff all over it. Okay. So the one thing that I noticed last night when I pulled this out to try it is that it spreads a long ways. I thought I'm going to need a whole lot to cover this stencil, and I'm not going to cover the whole thing, just a portion of it. And watch this little bit that I have here. Watch how far this goes. I kept having to put it back into the jar because I had way too much. So I'm going to, and I'm trying not to go off the edge, but I already have. I just want to do part of this stencil so that I'll have some of the tag covered. And this is on a plain white tag so that you can see it real easily. But then I'll show you, let's get some color, some background on the tag, because that's probably how I would really do it. So there's still some left on there, and there's plenty on the top. This isn't flat, so it makes it a little harder to scrape it off. Let me get under the edge, and I'm going to pick it straight up. Okay, so I got quite a bit of that covered and still had some to scrape back in the jar. I was really surprised at how little it takes. So I've got a little piece of fuzz or something on there. I'll see if I can get that off. And I did. Okay. And I'm going to show you on the white so that you can see it really well. But now that we put that on, you can see that it's still very wet. We need to set it aside and let it dry. It's got to dry completely so that it'll be tacky. If you do it now, and I don't know where I set the one that I did when it was still wet, it just smashes that glue out all over and it doesn't retain your nice shape of your stencil. So, it doesn't look all that great because it just smashed it. So I learned that you really do need to let it dry. We'll just let that set aside for a minute and dry that. So let's make a quick tag background. Let me show you a really quick, easy way to do it with the gel plate and some ink. I'm just going to take Vintage Photo and I'm going to smear some Vintage Photo on my gel plate. And then I'm going to use the turquoise. I've been using this for another project, both of these, which came with the Vintage Library, and I really love them, the colors. So I'm going to try the turquoise on the background here. I haven't tried that yet. Shake it up a bit. I'm going to squirt a little bit on my mat. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of water. Okay, and then I'm going to grab, hopefully, there it is, a brush to help if it was not soaked still from last time. A fan brush. I'm going to take this and take some of that color, and I'm just going to put some sprinkles. These are really tiny little sprinkles. You could make great big ones if you wanted, but nice tiny sprinkles. And then I'm going to take a tag and then just lay the tag down. This is a heavyweight tag, but it's not watercolor paper. It's just heavy cardstock. So it's not nothing special, no special kind of paper. Hey, J Mac, good morning. Good morning. Deco two-way glue. Awesome. Penny had a lot of stuff at retreat. Yes, she did. Everybody had a lot of stuff at retreat. Okay, and then when I pull it up, and maybe that's even more vintage photo than I'd want in the back, and I've got some white spaces. They seem a little bright right now. So if I take this and just put a little bit of that turquoise there, it just takes the edge off of the white and brings in a little more of that color. So there's a background, and I've still got plenty more sitting here. I'll give that just a second to dry. So let's just give this a little bit more vintage photo. You know, you don't see very much on here. I can see that on the camera, it shows a whole lot more than it does in person. And so you think there's just not very much there. I need to put more and more. But then you can see when you do how dark it comes out. So you really don't have to put a ton. It's good transferable ink. Okay, so let's see. Maybe this time we'll even get some. Now it's mixing because I just touched the brown. Okay, so we'll get some mixed. We'll have some odd shapes there. And let's see if we can do even a spray. There we go. Just a little bit of spray on there and see what we get with that. Just some quick and easy backgrounds. You can set your gel plate here. You don't even need to get out paint. Cool. I like that. Wow, it looks like mountains with the corner of the ink pad. Looks like mountains. Let me give the edge just a little bit of color so it's not quite so white. Can always come back and ink it later with a blending brush. Okay, so we've got a couple backgrounds to work with there. Let's move this off to the side. And of course, I don't want to waste this, so let me see what I can mop up here. All right. That will need a little more vintage photo or something added to it later, but good. Okay, baby wipe. And I can feel sticky on my hand from that palette knife. What is the advantage of doing this on a gel plate instead of on a mat? You can do it on a mat. You see that I just picked that up on a mat, but you know what you get when you pick it up off the mat is more of a splat. It kind of tends to stay where it is more on the gel plate. So see how you had all the splatters? They tend to stay there on the gel plate. And you could even make mountains with the corner if you want. But yeah, when you pick it up on the mat, you just smash it down in, just get a big mash, which I love too. They're all just different types of backgrounds. So not necessarily an advantage, just a different look. That's all. Not seeing a lot of the blue. There isn't a whole lot of the blue. If I hold this up, you can probably see all those little splatters are blue. And if I'd gone lighter on the vintage photo on this one, you can see a whole lot more of the blue. So it's just a good background to begin with. So let's take that. That should be dry. Yep, let's take that. And we want to put some foil on that. And well, certainly I have more than one stencil sitting here. I thought I pulled out several. I've got an embossing folder, not another. Oh, wait, here's one. Here's one. Let's see. This is one of our new ones. I think this is from Vintage Library, the corners and embellishments. Let's do that. Let's just do a corner down here. That'll be cool. Okay, so we've got this nice corner embellishment down here. Now I'm going to show you a couple that I did last night too, especially while this is drying. So the thicker you make the paste, the longer it's going to take to dry. when I reach in, I'm just touching it and getting only a tiny bit because it really spreads far. And I'm trying to make it fairly even, and I'm trying to make it fairly thin. I want it to dry pretty quickly so we can move along. I'm not used to this palette knife. It's kind of weird shaped, but it'll work. Okay. Probably do something up on the top too. So there's the corner. You can see that's very wet, that corner embellishment. And then let's do something up here to offset it. And I'm going to turn it upside down just so I don't stick my hand in it. Let's see if I can get this off easily here. There we go. Here's a small one. We'll do this small one up here. Ooh, that's not, should have done that first. Is there another small one? Yeah, I don't want to lay it on top of it. I'm going to try it anyway. You know me. Which side did I use? This side. Okay. I can tell if I touch this, it's very tacky, very sticky. It's tacky. It just dries tacky, and that's exactly what it's supposed to do. So, all right, I am going to hold this down and hold that up at the same time. So I'm just going to get a tiny bit. This is a very small embellishment up here. Yeah, I'm not crazy about this palette knife, this shape. Does anybody else have a palette knife that's shaped like this? Do you like it? And is there a trick to using it? I like having a flat edge to scrape over the top, and I don't have a flat edge with this. Even no matter how I turn it, it's always kind of rounded. So I'm not crazy about that. Pull that up. All right. So there's that corner, nice and wet. And then there's that corner. You can see that corner starting to dry. You can see it getting shiny, but it doesn't look as wet as this corner does. So that hopefully will dry pretty quickly because we did it pretty thin. So I'm going to grab another baby wipe over here. And I'm going to wipe down the stencil. It does wipe off pretty easily if you do it right away. Don't wait for it to get dry. Then you'll need to really soak it. But it wipes off pretty well. And the other one is up here. Okay. But then as I did that, I wiped some through the holes. You know you did, whether you want to or not. And I'll need to turn it over and get whatever's on the back side. But I do like that it cleans up easily if I do it right away. You can see the imprint right there where I laid it down. So it would probably be better if I just set it in water or took it right to the sink and just rinsed it off right away. But you know me, I don't do that. I don't do it right away with my stencils ever. So if it wipes off, that's awesome for me. Okay. So that is drying. Let's see how this one is doing. Still looks a little wet in certain places. So we're going to leave that sitting there. We've got this one. Let's see what else was on there that maybe we could just do down the side. We want to do a couple because I want to show you a couple of different ways to set them. How about this one? Let's go right up that edge. Here we go. Yeah, that size of the gel plate, DM, I do too. I find I really am liking the 5x7 because I can grab it and use it quickly for things like that. There are so many techniques that you can do like that that I never really thought about until I started playing with them. Because, you know, we think of a gel plating session. You get everything out, your paints and your gel plates, and you have a whole gel plating session while you've got it all out making a mess. But you don't always have to make a mess with the gel plate. And you can just grab it and do something quick like that. and it just took it right off. So it's clean all over again, or I could just wipe it with a baby wipe. But I am really liking that one. Is longer than 5x7. I think it's 9 long. It's the rectangle, but I'm really liking the 5x7 size for that purpose. If you're a card maker, 5x7 is awesome for doing things like that. Spur of the moment or a whole bunch, doesn't matter. Okay, so this one goes right up the side from all the way up here all the way to the bottom. So it's kind of a side corner embellishment. So let's wipe this off here. So I'll show you a couple that I did last night. And I found that you could get a couple of different looks out of the foil, which I really hadn't thought about before. But I always thought of foil as shiny. Foil is finey. Foil as shiny and, bright and clean, classic, sparkly, all of that. I never thought of foil as in distress mode. I'm just reading comments here for a second. Need that glue tub. Yep, we have these today, so we wanted to show them first and go through how to use them. You probably could use a heat tool to dry it. I haven't tried it, although I think maybe a cool tool would probably work better, because I'm thinking that heat is going to melt the adhesive all over again. And when you melt the adhesive, you're kind of bringing it back, It's actually, if you're doing several of them and it sits for 15, 20, 30 minutes, depending how thick you make it. I can tell I got a little thicker down here because up here, it seems pretty ready to go. And down here is just a little bit thicker. I can see a couple spots that is a little thicker. You could even, they're going to stay tacky till you do something with them. This one, I think I got it nice and thin, and it looks kind of ready to go. Okay, this one, nice and thin. That one shouldn't take too long. Okay, so yeah, I never thought of foil in distress. Not too super, I believe said tool is for sharpening, applying, using paste or texture. Do not know the other product. The palette knife for shaping. Okay. So maybe not specifically for 3D adhesive or, something that you want to spread flat. It's more of a shaping tool. Well, that's why. So yeah, no, I didn't know that. Thank you. Typically I would use a flat palette knife like this, but this still has paste on it from last night. I stuck it in water, but it doesn't just melt off. It sticks. You can kind of peel it off after the fact. So rinse off right away. Yeah, no. Sticky cupcake prints all over the house. That's awesome. Oh, yeah. I'm thinking that, yeah, I agree, Penny. I think it would bubble it and it would bring it back to life where you want it to dry and get sticky. Yep, it will be covered with shiny foil. So, what I found last night was that I could foil it and get a distressed foil look. I'm hoping that these aren't too glary in the light. Maybe if I hold it closer so it doesn't have much of that. See how that's kind of distressed? Now, some of them I went back over purposefully to get them full. You can see that they're full, but there's a lot of them that are just kind of distressed foiled. So you've got that shine, that glitter, but you could do this on a distressed tag or a distressed something and continue with the distressed look, adding a tiny bit of bling. And compare that to the exact same thing that is fully foiled. So you can get both looks, and how you put the foil down determines which look you get. Sticky until covered means foil and fur effect. Yeah, once it's covered with foil, it isn't sticky anymore. It is totally just like a foiled tag, foiled card. Probably why I don't have any. Oh, yeah. No, just do it on the desk. Keep them off until you get the foil down, and then you're good. They can walk on this all day, and it wouldn't hurt it at all. So I'll show you the difference on how I got those. I think that we may be about ready to go on these. I hope I'm not pushing it, because if you push it, you don't get as good of effect, and I don't want to blow it. So here's another one I did last night. Butterfly. Now, I like it and I don't like it. I'll tell you why. First of all, the butterfly, I thought, okay, this is a small butterfly on a big tag. Grab the stencil I used for that. This stencil. And so, oh, shoot. Just set it on top of that. Way to go. Well, I might have messed up our design right there. Just stay away from a Marianne. So that's the butterfly that I used on there. And what I found was a couple of things. There's not any border or enough border like there is on a stencil, like this stencil we were just using that I don't know where I just set it. This one. You've got enough border here, and especially if you're not doing the entire stencil, that it's easy to spread the paste and have the border so you're not getting paste all over everything else. This was very difficult to get right up to the edge to get all of the little holes without going over the edge, so that I didn't have foil all around it, but only foiled the butterfly. Very difficult to do, like the antenna. I ended up, doing it with my finger up there. And in trying to use the palette knife to make sure that I got right up to the edge and then got every little hole with paste in it, I can tell that I ended up pushing some of the paste underneath so that it just kind of, in a couple spots, it kind of runs together. It looks pretty darn cool, but that it's just too busy, in my opinion. It's kind of too busy of a stencil to use for that with too little edges, unless I just wanted part of the design. If I just wanted a little bit of the design, no big deal, because then you're creating plenty of edges there. So you want to keep that in mind as you're doing it. Okay, so let's take, this was the first one we did, right? Nope, this was the first one we did. Okay, there's still a couple down there that look a little wet, but I think we're going to be okay. Let's take this first one we did. The other one, just like this, we did in the rose. So let's maybe do this mint. Oh, how about holographic? Oh, I sure wish I had a background on that, because, it's just kind of very stark. What I'm going to do is just cut a piece of this. I don't want to waste it. And even, I got 3 pieces there.
Save the waste and put it in a plate jar.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of ways to use the waste, especially if you get a nice imprint.
They're like, should you put the lid on the glue, Marianne?
Nah, it's okay. What's it going to do? Get tacky? Well, if we're done, I'll put the lid on the glue. We're done with that. But okay, so I'm going to lay this over the top, and I'm just going to lay it down, spread it out. I missed a little part there. I can get that with the edge there. So there's 2 ways to now burnish this down. One would be with my fingers, or with I might use a tool. I would start out with your fingers, for sure, before you go to a tool. But you can just burnish it like that. It's very quick. So like Candy and I were talking beforehand, you could take a stamp and put the paste on the stamp. Maybe the stamp says happy anniversary, happy birthday, get well, whatever it is. And then stick the stamp onto the foil on the back side, burnish it on. No, you don't want to do that. Then you just put it on your, oh my goodness. Wow. Back up. Don't listen to a word I just said. Hi, Christy. Put the glue on the stamp, stamp it onto your card or your tag or your envelope or whatever you're making. Then take the foil like this and put the foil over the top of it and burnish it on and get that sentiment foiled. Really fast way to foil. There are a dozen ways to foil without having to have heat. I think I did a tutorial last year or the year before on a bunch of ways to use foil without heat. But now we've got even more. And we're going to need to do a whole nother day on just different ways that you can use foil without heat, because there is a lot of cool things that you can do with this. This is just one. So I'm just rubbing this down, trying to make sure that I really get it down really good. So this one here that looks distressed, that one I burnished by hand. So I can start to peel it up, and I've got that distressed look. If that's what I want, then great, pull it up. If not, I'll just put it back down. It doesn't have to go down the same spot. It doesn't matter. It's only going to stick to where the adhesive is, and burnish it back on. So I can pull it up and say, yeah, that one just doesn't have hardly any on. But you see how well I've been burnishing. I've been really pushing in with my fingers. In fact, I'm going to grab this and see if this makes any difference. This is a Teflon bone folder. Okay, so I've got it burnished on really well. And yet I still have that distressed look. So if the distressed look is what you're going for, burnish it on with your fingers. That's great, because that's exactly what you get. And it looks really cool. Now, this is usable as well. There's different things you can do with that. And that a whole nother day when we do what different ways to use foil without heat, this would be a cool one to use. But if I want to, I can come back over here where there's more foil, and I can just go over some of these that don't seem to have much, and that takes a lot of time, just going over them one by one. And oh, that one doesn't have much. Let me do that one again. And I might have to keep doing it again and again because it still doesn't have much. Okay. Or to get this look where it's fully foiled, I can just run it through the embossing machine. Let me set these two aside here, and we'll do that. So if I let's take this one. Is that mat long enough? Maybe just barely. Okay, so all I want to do is take, what color should we do on that? The mint or holographic or the rose?
Tammy has asked if you could use a burnishing tool.
What is it? You mean like a bone folder, or is there a different burnishing tool? I'm going to take this and put that down and then cut a piece of this off. You really only need enough to cover it. Give yourself a little room. Okay. And then I need a piece for up here. Is there a different burnishing tool, DME, other than a bone folder? If so, I need to be educated. Okay, so
yeah, bone folder or pen cap or whatever is handy.
Yeah. But you see how I still didn't get a really good burnish on there, even using the bone folder? And that I have found is the difference. If I run this through here, hopefully that's tight enough plate. I think it is. And I'm just going to bring it back because I want it on this side anyway. Okay.
Kathy Lake, that's a Magic Mat is a scrapbook.com exclusive, and they don't let anybody else buy their stuff.
Yeah, scrapbook.com does not let retailers sell their things. You have to get it from them directly.
Yeah.
Okay, so check that
That
out.
one would be one she bought and was getting ready to de-stash.
Check that out. So see how much quicker and easier just running it through the embossing machine was than, and look, there's a little bit of the design right there that didn't have foil on it. Oops, no big deal. All I need is a little piece of foil to cover that. Put that down, run it back through.
That's cool.
Yeah. To me, this is faster than burnishing it by hand, and not, I mean, if I want the distressed look, I love being able to burnish it by hand so that I don't have to always have the fully foiled look. But if I don't want that and I want it fully foiled, yeah, miss a section, just go back over it, add a little foil, and you're good to go. I kind of smashed that foil down by putting it through there again after it was done, but it's fully foiled. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So there's your difference on how you burnish it. Just put it through an embossing machine. You get a full.
Yeah, with the glue, you can use the foil flakes. I don't know if you want to put your foil flakes through the embossing machine.
No, your foil flakes, you don't. So we'll go to Candy and
yeah, she's making me do the messy part.
Yeah, I'll talk you through. I'll tell you about the flakes while Candy does it. So, do you have something that you already put glue on that is drying?
Yep.
Okay, so
I've done 2, and I got 2 drying.
Okay, so let's go here. Okay, so perfect. Okay, so get one that's been drying so they can see how we do it from the beginning.
These are the 2 I did practice. I've never done this before.
No, I like it. Oh, that's pretty, Dragonfly. So you can take a brush. There's one more technique that I want to show you there.
These I did with a stamp.
Okay.
I put glue on the stamp.
And then stamped it down. Okay. So yeah, you can just take your brush, take a little brush right into this, and then gently brush some of the paste onto the stamp that you want to use. Okay. And then she just stamped that right onto the tag. So now you just take your foil, and what you do, she's just smearing it around. That's exactly it. You take the foil, you can just pick up a little clump in your hand like this, and then just rub it like this. And the foil will just start to stick and break up and go everywhere. And it
sticks to my fingers.
Yeah. Especially if you have some of that glue on your fingers, it will stick to you.
I even wiped off real quick.
Yeah. But you just
brush is better.
Pick up a little clump, and then you just rub it. Just rub it. And you just keep, and then the stuff that falls off, brush it together, stick it back on your tag and rub it on, And then when you're all done, you pick up, see how she has a piece of paper folded in half? Just pick that up, fold it in half, and dump it back into your container. It's much easier to take it out of a little bit larger container. All right, so pick that up and hold it up close. There we go. Oh, cool. That's cool.
That one.
Yeah, that makes a very cool background. Yeah, so see how she just picks up a clump, set the clump down, and then just put your fingers on top of it and just rub it around. Rub it in circles, spread it around, rub it in, just keep rubbing it in. I love the honeycomb too. That's really cool look.
Well, I didn't stamp this one real good. You can't really see the antenna.
Oh, that's okay.
I didn't get enough glue on it.
And so if it didn't come out really well because you didn't get a good stamp on it, then you just use it as a little bit of background bling.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, so there's another. Let's do this.
I've got a little dragonfly.
Oh, that's cute. Okay, so she could take a fine brush and get some more glue, some more of the adhesive, and go over that antenna let it dry so it's tacky, and then put some more foil on it. It's not like if you didn't get it perfect the first time, you're done. Like when we stamp with ink, either you got it or you didn't, you know. But with the foil, with the glue, it's not, because you can go back over it with foil again. So I want to show you. Let's say you let's say you have a piece of paper. I happen to have a tag, not a piece of paper, but let's say it's a piece of paper. And you want to, maybe you want to die cut your sentiment for a card or for a tag. Maybe you're making somebody a journal tag for a gift or whatever, and you want to die cut something to put on it, a sentiment to put on it in foil. So you can take your piece of paper. I would just take regular cardstock, and hang on a minute. Let me make sure I'm not yanking this cord. Let me get it out of my way. Okay. And what I need is a brush. I thought I brought a brush over here. I did. This brush should work. Yeah. Just take a brush and get a little bit of this. Now this you can do virtually instantly, because if you are brushing it on like this, you can make it super thin. And remember, the thinner it is, the faster it's going to dry. So brush that around. Not going to see brush strokes, so just, oh, got a hair on there. Yep. Get a little bit of my DNA.
Yeah.
The whole thing is covered. That's my signature, right? I don't sign it. I just give you a little bit of my DNA. So I'm going to pick up the extra paste right here so I don't stick my arms in it or paper later. That picks up nicely. Okay. And I'm just going to give this, just a couple of minutes to make sure it's tacky. Yeah, these are really cool to put down this way. So you've got this design in here that came out really nicely. I could take this and put this on a tiny little tag or up on the corner of something, and I could just cut it right there. And then you bring your decorations up to the edge so you don't, see that edge, and you've got the negative in foil. So it's drying. The whole thing is tacky because I went over the whole thing. Let me close this up while we're doing that. How about I do this holographic? That would be cool. Holographic, and then maybe you're going to cut out their name in letters or the sentiment or whatever. Can you press it into flakes on a flat surface? Okay, do you mean like, can you put the flakes down here and then turn your item over and press it into the flakes?
Yeah, I did that on the.
Yeah, you could do that.
For the area I was missing.
Yeah, you can do that. It just doesn't. You're just pressing the foil flakes on it then. You'd still need to turn it over and rub them with your fingers, because as you rub it, you're burnishing it down and rubbing off the excess. And once you've burnished it all down really good, you can take a brush and just brush the excess off. It's not going to hurt the foil that is stuck down at all. Okay, I'm going to bring this tool back, and I'm going to get the holographic. And I only need a small piece here. I hope, is that long enough? Barely, but it is. They're probably the exact same length. So may not be quite dry enough, but it's getting there. Yeah, it's getting there. So I could do this as, as a background on the tag. Or if I was doing this on, well, it will be the background of a tag here, but if I was just doing it on a piece of cardstock, I could then die cut out of it. Okay, so now I've covered my piece of cardstock with the holographic foil, and I'm just going to put it in here to get it smashed. take it back. Okay, and then what I've got is a piece of cardstock that is foiled in holographic foil. So I could put it on my trimmer. I could do this and trim it up to let that be a background. But if this was just a piece of cardstock, I would then get my sentiment out and run it through the die cutter with the sentiment and cut the sentiment right out of the cardstock. So then the sentiment itself would be foiled. You can also foil it after you cut it, and we'll do that another day. But it's kind of easier if you foil the paper first. But you also use less foil if you do it after the fact. But I'm going to show you one more fun trick. I can't cut straight on camera for the life of me. Okay, so now I've got this tag. Oh, look, that's cute. It went around the whole reinforcer. I've got this tag now that is foiled. So how about I want to put some design on it, or maybe it's a piece of cardstock with foil and I want to use it for something. Let's run it through an embossing folder so I can emboss that gate on it. It's not tall enough for that. Let's use this design. It's the smallest of those right there. So I can just stick this right in here. It's going to miss the very top. So I think I'll do this because then I could cut the bottom off and just make the tag a little bit shorter. I'm just going to put it in the embossing folder. Stick it in here. And this may now be a little too tight. Let's find out. Yep. Okay. Let me take the shim out. There we go. That should work. Hopefully. Oh, that's too tight. All right. Let's try one more. Let's try just the shim on top. That's too loose. Great. Let me grab a different plate here. I'm just going to put the magnetic mat on top. That's right in between those two. That's not tight enough. I didn't figure out the sandwich for this one ahead of time. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, that'll work. Got so many embossing plates. Just, grab one, grab two, figure out what works. If you need it just a hair thicker, just grab a piece of cardstock, 2 pieces of cardstock, whatever you need. Okay. Look how cool that is. You could do that in plain silver. There's the back, just plain white. You could do it in plain silver, plain gold, that rose, that mint green. This is the holographic. So that is really cool. So I could put something on the bottom so you don't see that. If I wanted the whole thing, I could just cut it off right there and make it a little shorter tag because that was just a little too long to get into the whole thing into the embossing folder. But it's cool, isn't it? Really cool. I could also cut it down into smaller tags. I am going to foil this one because if I don't, I'm going to end up sticking everything to it. So while I've got this stuff out, let me do it quickly. Let's see, back to our original. I'll put the rose on this. There we go.
Oh my God.
And let's run that through. If it's foiled, I know it's done. If I wait, I'll probably stick something in it. Okay. And then we'll peel that foil off. Oh, that's pretty. That is really pretty.
Yeah, the sheet didn't work very well for me.
The sheet didn't work very well?
Yeah, it looks like it came out, but you can't. Well, it's the same color. I think it's too close to the same color.
Hang on. Is that vellum? No, it's cardstock.
Yeah, it's cardstock.
Okay. Which side of the foil did you put down?
This side, the colored side?
Put the other side. That's
okay. That's why.
That's why it didn't work well. Just had it upside down.
Yeah, upside down.
Well, you know, Candy's learning from me. Show you what not to do.
Yeah.
It's okay. She's just trying to make me look good, guys.
It's like they're all over the place.
Look how easy it is. I mean, it really is an easy technique to do to really shine something up. You know,
just KK was saying that shiny side up.
Oh,
if I looked.
Candy, flip the foil.
Flip it.
Shiny side up. You guys are all right, but you just needed to show it. Oh, J Mac just thought you were experimenting. That was nice.
I made it silver.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, well, you could get a really kind of distressed look with that, actually, looking at what you've got there. Okay, so let me move some of this stuff over. Now that I've got foil and glue and plates all over my desk, let me move these guys off. Give us our space back. So you can see that that was just a beginning of what you can do with these. There's a lot of techniques that you can do with the adhesives. Both of these are specifically foil adhesive. So there's a lot of techniques for those. And there's a lot of techniques for stencils with these kinds of things. And stencils, obviously, with alcohol inks and on the gel plate and all of those. So you know what else I brought out that I didn't try? This came out of one of those molds. You had this one the other day, the bow.
Yeah.
I was going to try some of it on the bow.
Try that on, but I couldn't find it.
I was going to try that on the bow. Let me try that really quickly. Because y'all want to see it, don't you? You know what? I'm not going to bother. I'll cut it out later. I was going to cut it close because this is the over the top. But I won't. I'll cut that off later. I'm going to use the Stamperia one for this one. And let's see. I have a small brush. Kind of sort of small. That's going to be kind of big. Yeah, it's kind of a big brush. See if we can just get some. Wow, I only squirted out a dollop there, but I have a feeling that's going to be way too much. Okay, so this is a mold that had some flourishes and corners and like cornices and things. It also has this ribbon right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So Candy had it the other day. She did it in that beautiful blue paste. I think tried not to get very much on it, actually, because you know, all of the ribbon isn't shiny. There's the flat sides too. So, and I don't want it everywhere. All right, what color should we do that? Well, that rose would be pretty. Let's see. I'd probably take the edge of this and use that. Now, I get it on my finger so easily. The product is Sizzix 3D adhesive, and we do have it today at the sale. And we have foil at the sale. So look at that. I did that, and I still have this big old glop here. I didn't think I squirted out that much, but I'm telling you, it spreads. It really spreads very far, and you don't need a whole lot. So lesson, I should just put out a teeny tiny bit, add more if I need it as I go. So this is Sizzix, and this one is Stamperia, and they both do the exact same thing. And I know for a fact the Stamperia one works because the other day I was putting down a piece of rice paper, and I thought I grabbed the rice paper glue in the bottle that I was trying to use up. Instead, I grabbed the foil glue, and I foil glued my rice paper down, which worked. The rice paper stuck, and then I went over it with a collage medium. But
yes, glitter will stick to this paste.
Yes, glitter will stick to this paste for sure. It was totally tacky until I put some paper or something on the other places where it got. It's tacky. It will stay tacky indefinitely until you put something on it. I mean, if you leave it sit out, it's inevitably going to get dust and, whatever is in the air. But it will stay tacky indefinitely. Does that one have any on it? No, it does not. Okay. Yeah, it'll stay tacky indefinitely until you put something on it. Sometimes candy gets a bit madder than Marianne. What?
Oh, yeah.
What? I know you said it was sticky, but glitter stick to the paste. Yes, glitter will stick to that, and it will stay stuck. It is very sticky, and it's intended to be permanent. That foil is not going to come off. I mean, sure, you could probably grab a knife and scrape it off, but yeah, cat fur. Going to get cat fur or Lucy fur or something hair on it. So I'm going to take this, and I have not done this before on a mold. I'm just going to try burnishing it a bit with my finger. And then probably what I'll do is get a paint that's about the same and do the other parts that aren't. So the other parts are nice, pretty, the same color ribbon, but then just these highlights are metallic and foiled. So, probably should have done it in the other order, but it's easier for you to see if it's on white. And we are experimenting. Okay. So let's see. I think I put a little more glue on here. Let me rub that a bit. I didn't put very much on because I didn't want it just to be overly glued. Maybe I didn't put enough on some places, but you can always just put the foil down on it and rub again. And again, this is much more forgiving for people like me than even regular stamping. Because if I don't get it the first time on regular stamping, I have to do it all over again. It's ruined. Well, other than using a stamping platform. But this, I could go in and put more adhesive. I could take my brush and just brush more adhesive over the top of this. And then I could put more foil on it. And I can keep doing that until I have as much foil as I would like. There's a lot of little crevices down in here too that maybe I don't know how to get into. I'm trying to get in with fingers.
J-Mac, I just cleaned them. I use this stamp, but then just clean it and you put it on lightly. Make sure you just daub it on there.
Yeah. You just want to really light coat.
I sprayed it with a little bit of alcohol, just an alcohol mix that I have and then just used a brush to get down and get everything off.
Perfect. Alcohol or hand sanitizer,
yeah,
a baby wipe, and then but alcohol, make sure you get it all off before you use it on something else. Yeah. Okay. So we can foil on molds too. That's on there permanently. I still can feel a little sticky here and there, which means that I didn't get the foil everywhere where I got adhesive. And that's kind of hard, but I would probably take the back end of a tool that's round, but not sharp, because I don't want to cut the foil. I just want to push it into all the little cracks and crevices that I got glue into and make that shine here and there. I like the distressed look on the ribbon. So what we have for you today, sale-wise, we do have both the Sizzix 3D adhesive and the Stamperia foil glue.